You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish. We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try to be the best. Not to be better than other people, but to be the best for you. You grind hard so you can play hard. The work you put in will pay off. It could be a year, it could be 30 years, but you keep grinding. Welcome to Big Reptile Talk. Yo. Welcome to the podcast. This is Big Reptile Talk. But before we get started, you know what we got to do. We got to show some love to the sponsors. So, of course, if you keep reptiles, make sure you keep them in style. Venom-proof cages, some of the best cages on the market. Keep your animals in style and keep them safely. Next, last, Ozzy Boys. If you love ball pythons, you know who Ozzy Boys is. This man doesn't need an introduction. He produces straight heat. So head over to his Morph Market, give him a follow, give him some love, and check out his animals. And last, ship your reptiles. This is so important. We are in the reptile hobby, and this is so overlooked. You need to focus on producing amazing animals and let Ship Your Reptiles get your animals to your customers. So without further ado, I'm super excited. Welcome to the podcast. This is Big Reptile Talk. As always, I bring this podcast and I wanted to go and get the most amazing creators out there that, just they lives are based around animals. We've talked to Brian Barczyk, we've talked to Jay Brewer, we talked to some of the biggest reptile hobby people in the business. And I wanted to not just do that. We went and got ant keepers. We went and got, John Rinke from the Tiger King. And not just that, today I'm super excited. I'm a fan of this guy, Caveman Rob. Kings of Pain. But before we bring him in, let's say what's up to everybody that's coming in the chat. I'm super excited. Regine TV, what is going on? Morbid Retix, I see you. My boy, Wild Boy Dev. Y'all make sure y'all go give him a follow. He's always at the Reptarian with Brian Barczyk doing incredible stuff. What is up, Reptile Hutch? NM Reptiles, what's going on? Nana D's Life, Mike's Monitors. That's my brother right there. Produces some of the most insane monitors in the game. There's so many people showing up. Iron Dog Reptiles, y'all making sure y'all give him some love, man. Tim, what is going on, man? It's going to be an amazing podcast. This man, him and his co-host, they have a show on the History Channel, and it's called Kings of Pain. So let's bring him in, man. Caveman Rob, how you doing today?
Good, man. How you doing?
Excited to have you here, man. I'm super excited. I want to jump into it, man, because what you and your co-host have done is incredible. So I got to ask you, how does that feel having your own TV show?
It's kind of weird. Like it's kind of like winning the lottery. You know what I mean? There's so many people out there that honestly, people more qualified than me or Adam that never got this opportunity. There's so few animal shows, really, when you compare it to animal people. I still can't believe we're on a TV show. And
right.
We got delayed between season 1 and season 2, and we didn't think we were getting a season 2. And I was like, Adam, this sucks. I get it. But we got a TV show doing crazy stuff. Like, how many people get that opportunity in their lifetime? So to answer your question, man, I still can't believe it sometimes. Like, what are the odds?
I love it. And, me being a small YouTuber, we just hit 100,000 views, for in 1 month. And I say that to say thank you to everybody, but not just to say that, just to say, your dreams don't work unless you do. So I want you to inspire people. You weren't always on TV. I want you to time travel. What were you doing before you got your TV show?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what, like, there's a lot of times, like, I thought maybe I would give up because it was such a crazy idea. So I moved. I'm from Oklahoma, grew up, catching animals. I'm not a wildlife biologist. I haven't always worked with animals, but I've been herping, finding reptiles and amphibians in the wild since I think 5, like obsessively. Like that's my thing. Like field herping is my thing. Came out to California 2006 on vacation. I was like, oh, okay. Went home, packed my bags, and moved out here. It's just such an amazing place for reptiles and everything. I was out here about a year. I was working in a bar. Good job for a young guy, but not what I wanted to do. And then so someone set me down. They're like, "Hey, what do you really want to do with your life?" Like they're like, "Not even that. Like, be stupid. What's the craziest dream you could have?" And I sat there. I was like, "Well, I'm always watching nature shows. Uh, everything from like old school shows like Wild, like Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom and stuff like that, all the way up to Crocodile Hunter." I was like, I like to work on one of those shows, and really, if I could host one, that would be like the craziest thing to me. And they're like, "Do it," and I was like, I'm going to do it, which is such a silly thing. It's like coming to LA, you're going to be an actor or something. It's so hard. Uh, but then I was like, I am going to do it, and then someone overheard that, and then she bought me a camera. And this is back 2007, 2008. Bought me a little digital camera because the cell phones weren't so good back then. I started taking pictures, put them up on, it might have been MySpace. It might have been Facebook when it first came out. Put those pictures up. Big group of friends that we had. One of them was working for a casting director. So now someone told me to do this. Someone bought me a camera. I put the pictures up on Facebook. He sees those pictures and is like, "Hey, I'm casting for a show. We want to put a person inside a plexiglass box and test different things with crocodiles and with tigers and with lions and see like different feeding behaviors." And I was like, this is maybe a month after this whole thing started.
Damn.
So, like that, right? And so I was like, I don't know anything about tigers. He's like, just go in there. It's experiments. You can do experiments. I'm like, I can. So I went in there, and I had never been on camera ever, man, bro. I swear it was this bad. Like, tell us about tigers attacking people in the Sundarbans National Park and like wherever that is, Bangladesh, I think. I'm like, well, tigers, they have stripes. And I was, needless to say, this is for Discovery Channel, and I think it was Croc Feeding Frenzy is the final thing that came up out of that. You can watch it. It's super old, but I didn't get that. But the producers hit me up maybe 2 weeks later, like, "Hey, we need someone to handle snakes for a show called I Was Bitten." And I was like, "Well, I can do that. There's no speaking role." You know? They hired me onto that, and that one thing led to another. And then so over the years, I got behind the scenes stuff. I got guest appearances on as a snake expert on Storage Wars. Ripley's Believe It or Not. They had me come on talking about the Schmidt Pain Index. So it's like one thing after another. But that was 2008 when I started. There were so many times I thought I'd give up because you know how hard it is to start a YouTube. How hard it is to get on. You know how many times the network, like big networks like Discovery, History, "Oh, we love you. We got a perfect show for you." Then it falls through. That happened for a decade. That happened for a full decade. It was 2018. Actually 2019 before we were out in the field filming Kings of Pain. So 11 years. So like, if I have any advice, just don't give up because it took 11 years.
I love it. Y'all hear that? Rob said, "Don't give up." I love it. Now you getting some love in the chat. I want to highlight a couple comments. Shout out to Mike's Monitors. He said, "Oh man, bring the pain."
Oh, we got to talk about the monitors bite that we did. We've done 2 of them. We got to talk about the most recent one at some point during this.
Of course. Now, shout out to Wallboy Dev. He has a question, and we're going to get that answered. He said, "How long did it take for the retic bite to heal?"
Well, it's never healed, to be honest. We wanted to catch a female. It seems from like what I've talking to people and reading that the male retics have serrated teeth or teardrop shaped teeth, so they actually fight. They're one of the few snakes that inflict damage when the males compete. Usually, so more like with the rattlesnakes, it's ritualistic. So we wanted to do a big python for Kings of Pain. We thought it really wasn't necessary, but we figured that'd be like the gateway to get people into watching the show so they could actually learn something about the other animals. Well, we wanted a big female. We didn't want a male with those crazy teeth. Lo and behold, we get to Indonesia. We go looking for snakes. We get a male. So that's just reality of life. You want to shoot this TV show or not? You got the big male. So we did it, and one of the teeth hit my ulnar nerve, which is like if you ever hit your funny bone. I'm sure you have.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awful. Well, this thing literally hit that nerve, which is what we call the funny bone. and I've had surgery. I've had physical therapy. It's better now. I'm back doing martial arts and stuff that I enjoy, but it was like 3 years where I couldn't really do a lot of stuff that I'm used to. Yeah. So, I mean, you take a risk like that. It's, what do you expect? You know what I mean?
What do you think stuck with you worse? The retic bite or the rattlesnake bite that was like over a $500,000 spent on the anti-venom?
Oh, definitely the retic bite, because
over the rattlesnake?
Yeah, yes, and here's why. The rattlesnake, that was sort of the first time I encountered something to where like I realized I wasn't invincible, being young and dumb. And a couple other things, like I've had some close calls other than animal stuff too in life, like where I thought I was gonna die. But I came through all those without any permanent problems. You know what I mean? The retics, the first time I was like, okay, now you gotta deal with this for the rest of your life. So definitely the retic.
Oh wow!
It's a game changer in the way I see things, because now I'm thinking like, okay, what's this going to do to me? Not in the short term, but in the long term.
Shout out to Cooper. He said, "Thank you for serving, Rob." He said, now I gotta say, I'm gonna agree with you, because I'll be honest, I've handled venomous, but I won't mess with a retic. I'm scared to take a bite.
Yeah.
Now I gotta ask, out of all the episodes, you're 2 seasons in, you're getting ready for, to keep shooting some more stuff. What was your favorite episode?
Oh man, probably my favorite was, season 1 didn't always air in order of what we shot it, because you know how TV is, they want to rearrange things and things like that. What really was the first ever episode was when we did the piranha bite and the bullet ant. And I think it's like number 8 in season 1. But when I watch that, I see Adam and I, we're not trying to be on TV. We're like, the producers haven't told us nothing yet. You can just see like we're having a good time. And I like that. I like that about it. And it's an iconic animal, like a piranha and a bullet ant. It's just like, it felt like a real jungle adventure,
Right, crazy episodes. I've seen them both. I've done my research. Shout out to Iron Dog Reptiles. He said, "Would you let the centipede bite you again?"
Hell no. There's not enough money in the world. There's not. I know what it does. There's no curiosity.
Now I gotta ask. This is a hot seat question.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just to have a little fun, and we love everybody. Now I gotta ask, Coyote Pearson, do you feel like he kind of laid the groundwork for y'all show, or were y'all before him?
Man, it's both. And I'll get into it. So when I was working in that first show called I Was Bitten way back in 2008, they had me do a couple non-venomous bites on high-speed camera just for some reenactments. And I was like, we should do a show where people get bitten and then they rate the pain. And the producer, he's like the animal handling producer, he like looked at me funny. He's like, interesting you say that. He's like, stay tuned. I'm like, okay. It might have been like a year later. He's like, you still want to do that show? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, we've got it happening. And so one of the major networks had given us money to shoot a pilot. Long story short, there were spitting cobras involved. There's me and 2 other guys. I ended up having to go to the eye doctor. 2 other guys ended up going to the hospital. One of them had permanent eye damage. Like it was bad, man. It was really bad. And so the network saw that and they're like, what the hell did you guys do? Like, we wanted like scary, not like now we have, hundreds of thousands in medical bills. So that got canned. And I think it was going to be called Pain Gang. It was very similar to Kings of Pain, very similar to Coyote Peterson's thing. So I kind of thought that was the end of it. And then I threw up a couple videos on YouTube, not really produced, like literally, oh, here's a velvet ant. Oh, that hurts. And then flicking it off and like, that's it. So no one was really watching it. And then Coyote came out in, I think, 2016 a couple years later with his videos. And so people started watching mine then because they had seen his videos and they found mine, like looking at.
So you were first.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, some people thought Coyote was faking it. Some people thought I was faking it because our reactions were so different. And I didn't realize it's a different velvet ant. It's not the same one. We're different people. You know what I mean? Like there's so many variables. But it was funny to me that so many people like doubted one or the other. I was like, I feel like these people have never done anything to realize everything's not always the same. You know what I mean? Um, uh, but basically, so that pilot we filmed was uh, Discovery Networks, the Pain Gang thing. So I don't know if they gave Coyote that idea, or if Coyote came up with it on his own, and then he went to Animal Planet later, which is owned by Discovery Networks. So he could have gotten it from Kings of, but I think history. From Pain Gang, the original pilots that never aired, could have been from the network. But at the same time, I think History Channel saw what Coyote did, and keep in mind, like, there's a lot of liability. When Discovery let us try, like, people end up in the hospital. But I think History was probably thinking the same thing, but they saw Coyote's success and they thought, it's worth it. So it could have helped us, hurt us, both. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I'm a competitive person, and I'm a King of Pain fan. I love Coyote Pearson, but fuck that, he stole it. I'm saying it. He stole it. Y'all was first.
Listen, we're not the first ones to come up with it. We got all of this from Justin Schmidt, King of the Wild. We're all based on him. So anytime people are like, "Oh, Kings of Pain versus Coyote," I'm like, we're both following Justin Schmidt. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, it's a different thing. I'm a fan of Coyote. I hope he's a fan of us. But at the end of the day, like, he didn't come up with that. We didn't come up with it. Man, people have been wanting to do this forever. It just took someone to actually do it.
So Caveman Rob said it's all love, man. We all just doing our thing.
Yeah, man. There's so many animals out there, and like, if you look, like, there's things that Adam and I have done, and Coyote, and other people have done, and we all had a different reaction. So that should tell you something. Like, there's so much more to learn.
Right. Shout out to Cooper. He said, "Caveman, do you and that stool have history or something? You kicked it hard."
Oh man, yeah, that stool had to go. But we see like a stump now that we get stung on. We just have bad feelings right away because it reminds us of being stung. Yeah, now, most famous thing. I'm like, sorry, Mom.
now I gotta ask. When your show came out, I want you to time travel. How did it feel seeing the first episode out? When the first episode finally hit TV, talk about that feeling going through your mind, seeing your dream actually happening.
I couldn't believe it. Because like I said, over a decade of trying, being so close, I was like, until you're on the plane filming the episode, you're not done. You know what I mean? And that turned out to be wrong as well, because we had an additional cast member originally, and then he got hurt in the jungle, and they sent him home. So then it was Adam and I. So he was on the plane too, thinking he's made it, and he never got on the show. And that was Dingo Dinkelman.
Shout out to Dingo Dinkelman.
Yeah. So really, until it airs, you're not on the show.
Hold on. So did you just say he was supposed to be on your first episode?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Damn, that's awesome.
That's crazy, man. But like I said, until the stuff airs, anything can happen. Anything.
I love it. Now I'm not trying to be too personal in your business, but I just want to have a little fun. Mm-hmm. Now you on national TV. We all love that residual money. I gotta ask, man, when that first check hit, what was that first thing when it got yourself?
Now, we don't get residuals. We get a big, like, one-time payment, which we wanted. We wanted that money.
Okay.
I don't know how the show's going. I want that money up front. We did good. Man. Basically, I've been paying for herping trips.
Yeah. Hey,
I took the wrong thing. And like, man, this is done before the show aired. I was like, I quit my job. I went to Costa Rica. This is before season 1. And then I spent a lot of money. I was like, I'm just going to go herping. And I'm going to get in this mindset ready for Kings of Pain. So I just traveled. I traveled to several places herping. And then the show got delayed by like 4 months or 3 months or something. I was like, man, my money's running out.
Nah, I love it, man. Now I gotta ask, because I've seen a lot of the shit that y'all have been bit and stung. I want to talk about the fear factor of it. Like, I feel like you ain't scared of shit. Like, is there something that you won't get stung by?
Oh man, there's stuff like the platypus, duck-billed platypus. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that scares the hell out of me. They have some story floating around. This guy was, I think, in World War II, got hit with shrapnel, and then later in life tried to rescue a male platypus, and it stung him. And he said the pain was way worse than his war wounds, and supposedly morphine doesn't work on it. And so, first, I don't know how. Like, so the bar or spur, I guess you call it, on their leg, is there's a lot of power behind it. I don't know how the thing would just slice you open if it wanted to, on top of the venom. So I don't know how we'd even do that sting, but it scares the hell out of me because you read stuff on the internet, you don't know how true it is. We're like, yeah, the pain can last months, even years. I'm like, I don't have time for that. You know what I mean? We film one thing, we got to go on the next episode.
Right.
Platypus is kind of like we want to do it, but we're scared to do it. We don't know how we do it. But we only have one other mammal, and it didn't even make like the actual index. When we went to Bali, a rescue center heard what we were doing, and they're like, "You guys should do a slow loris." And the slow loris is like super trafficked animal. And well, we're like, "Why do you want us to do it?" And they're like, "Well, people are going to see this thing sucks as a pet. It's a venomous mammal. Maybe people won't try to get it smuggled in. They'll just raise awareness." And so we did it. It hurt, but I don't think it really envenomated us. They have glands under their elbows, so they kind of like lick their elbows. That's why people want them, because they put their arms up like they want a hug. But what they're doing is they're getting ready to lick their venom glands to bite you. So, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Shout out to Mike's monitors. Now I want you to know before we keep going on, because we're gonna talk about the monitors. Mike monitors. He's a heavyweight when it comes to the monitors. He's telling you, you need to hit him up, come get you a monitor. He has some of the best monitors in the game. And I say that to lead into the question. Talk about that monitor, Mike, man. We all kind of curious about that.
Yeah. So, back what was about 15 or 20 years ago, I think Brian Fry did some of the early work on monitors being venomous, especially like the lace monitor and the Komodo monitors. And since then, people think other monitors might be venomous. The real question being, as far as Kings of Pain goes, can it affect a human? Because it's not really useful to us if it's venomous in a lab setting. Like, can it deliver that venom? What are the effects? It's kind of what we want to do on the show. And we did like a decent sized Nile monitor in season 1. Strong bite, thing lasted on me for like 12 minutes. Like, just would not let go. My arms numb, but didn't seem to have any type of venom effects whatsoever. So we heard Brian Barczyk had been pretty much knocked out by a black throat monitor. And yeah, man, he put a video out about it. And the funny thing is, like, one of the guys who's supplying animals for our show, season 2, he had been basically knocked out by a black throat monitor. So a baby one bit him, and then he was in bed for hours. I'm like, this guy is not the type of guy to exaggerate. He's not the type of guy to even react. Like if he got bitten by like a beaded lizard, he would probably just like brush it off. You know what I mean? But he was saying this thing put him into bed for hours, like he was sick. And then I saw Brian Barczyk's video. So we got a black throat monitor. It latched onto me for I think 4.5 minutes roughly, but only broke the skin with like 4 or 5 teeth. So it wasn't like a drastic bite whatsoever. It was mostly like a pinch with a couple places where the skin was broken, but a lot of saliva on it. And then Adam went and did his, and about 15 minutes after the bite, I'm like, man, my mouth is dry. Like I pulled it up. I pulled this one up just because it's the most interesting. So like, yeah, about 15 minutes in, I got my notes. I tried to write. I forget stuff, man. I get bitten by animals a lot. Yeah, difficulty swallowing after like 15 minutes, and then about 30 minutes in, like my traps started being really sore. That like if you moved it at all, it felt like you just finished like the craziest workout of your life, like lactic acid. So we're just kind of moving around like this, like, and everyone's like, look, they look like they're on mushrooms, because we're like staring at our hands and stuff. And then I scratched my back, and about 6 seconds after I scratched my back, it burned really bad. I'm like, what the hell? So I went up to Adam's back and just with my fingernail just drew a line down his back. And about 5-6 seconds later, he's like, what the hell, man? And it burns. So we have like these weird nerve issues going on. our muscles hurt, difficulty swallowing,
Wow.
crazy racing thoughts when I try to go to bed that night. Like it was, and then for days exhausted. So a very, very noticeable venom effect. Um, Adam had a crazy headache. His vision was blurry. That's from a black throat monitor. That's common. Like people have those as pets all over. They have no idea. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. That is insane. Roz Reptiles, man. Shout out to Roz. Thank you for that super chat, man. I appreciate you. Y'all make sure y'all go check out Roz Reptiles. Super, super good guy right there, man. That's crazy, man. I've never been bitten by a monitor, but Mike's monitors, he said the Varanus familius is the worst bite he ever took. The 24 inches long. And he said, have you ever thought about jumping in with a cassowary?
Yeah, and I want to know, was it like a venom effect or was it like just the trauma from that bite? But yeah, cassowary. My buddy's got a cassowary. It's a male, and they're not quite as dangerous as the females. Hell no! Like we went in, we went up to Adam and I both went together, and we went up to the enclosure. We're using my buddy as like a human shield. They're like, nope, nope. I mean, it's an intimidating animal. Funny fact: that cassowary that he has is terrified of tortoises. You see it hiding from tortoises.
I love it. I love it, man. Now, your show is incredible. What has been like the your favorite place that you have traveled and shot in?
I would have to say the Amazon. Well, we went to cool places season 1. We went to South Africa, but I had lived on that property for a few months years before, so it wasn't like as new to me. The Amazon was cool, and the place we were, you fly to like Peru for a layover, then you fly up to La Paz in Bolivia. It's like the highest capital city on the planet. Like when you get off the plane, there's guys sitting there with oxygen for people passing out. You're like at 14 or 15,000 feet. They're giving you like tea with like coca leaves that cocaine's made out of, and like they give you that. And it helps you to like not feel so sick. It's good for keeping you awake as well.
I'm jealous, man. I'm gonna tell you something. I hate to interrupt you. I hate to interrupt you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm jealous. I want your life. And if I see you at Animal Con, I'm gonna give you the Uno reverse card because I want to switch and live your life for a couple weeks.
Are you gonna be at Animal Con?
Man, I'm hoping so. I'm trying for sure.
Get my phone number. Hit me up if you do.
You better know it. You better know it. Now you going to Animal Con. I already know people want to meet you. You got fans. Who's somebody at Animal Con you looking forward to meeting?
Well, I'm actually super looking forward to seeing Dingo again. I've met him before, like obviously, but I haven't seen that guy. Man, it would have been 2019's the last time I seen him. When we were filming in South Africa, we had a day off, and we met up with Dingo and played with this big retic and cobras and spitting cobras, and like it was sick. It was a good time.
Right.
And a lot of people that I haven't seen in a long time, like Robbie Kezi, I haven't seen him in like over 10 years. Forrest Galante, I've seen him recently. But man, there's a lot of people that I didn't know existed until this Animal Con thing came out, and now I'm messaging them, like all kinds of people. So I'm excited to meet new people that I don't even like. They're not even on my radar yet. But like, I'm like, how do I not know these people exist? That's why they're having this convention, man. Like that way, everyone will get to know each other. I'm hoping there's no drama. I'm hoping everyone like respect. Like, there's gonna be a lot of cool people there. I hope everyone just like makes good connections. I hope collab videos. Like there could be some exciting stuff going on.
Who you trying to go down there and collab with?
Man, well, you know what? Neither one of these guys are going, which is killing me. But I'm trying to meet up with after Animal Con or before with either Python Hunter or Snakeaholic because I want to go see the invasive pythons.
They're killing it down there. They doing a lot of crazy stuff down there, catching those snakes in Florida.
Yeah, and it sucks for the pythons, but I'm more worried about the ecosystem than I am each individual snake. That's just my opinion.
Right.
But did you hear that? There's like a paper recently saying that there have been some potential benefits to those pythons down there for American alligators and for American crocodiles, because well, the pythons are decimating a lot of the fur-bearing mammals, like especially like raccoons, which are and maybe skunks as well, which are nest raiders. And so by getting rid of those nest raiders, the crocodiles and the alligators are able to reproduce a lot faster. So at least that's their theory right now. So I thought that was fascinating.
Insane. That is insane. Shout out to my Animal House. Thank you for that super chat. We're going to keep going, and I won't keep you very long. I know you were getting ready to go fishing. We already talked and all that. Cooper said he wants to know, for someone interested in working with animals, what would you suggest to start with?
There's so many different ways depending on what you want to do. But the main thing, have people around you. Like almost every time, like I've had any break, it's always been because of another person. Like that person who talked to me about finding my dream, the person who got me the camera, the person who got me that first audition, things like that. People are recommending me. I treat people well, and so like they may not be like, "Oh, this guy's an idiot," but he's loyal. You know what I mean? There's something, and then so no, but seriously, you get good recommendations if you treat people well. Depends on what you want to do. If you want to work in the zoo, you need to go to school and do a good job. And there's some really, if you're in California, I think there's like Moorpark College. It's a good one. For me, it was just staying with it. So
Right.
Depends on what you want to do with it. Yeah.
Now I got a few more questions, but I want to kind of have a little fun right now. So
Yeah.
Based on your life, man, you're living an insane life. So I want to talk about down the road when you have grandkids and you're reading them a book about your life. What would the title of the book be?
Don't be like your grandpa. Here's one thing I would seriously. I made a lot of mistakes in my life. There's been times I've done things I shouldn't have, or I was lazy when I should have been busy. But I've never got discouraged. So I can't say I've been discouraged a lot, but I haven't ever just given up. And
Right.
The only time I think it's okay to give up is if you have a new dream. You got something else you want to do? Go ahead and pursue it. Like I could step out of animals tomorrow and just have it as a hobby only if I had something else that I was interested in. But just don't ever give up because you'll regret it. Yeah.
Excellent advice. Now I want to say that like I said, these are just to have a little fun, and then we'll keep going. Let's say I'm making a movie, and I'm a movie director, and I'm making a movie about Caveman Rob, and it's gonna be called The King of Pain. What actor am I getting to play you?
Oh man, just please not Jack Black.
Any actor in the world.
Shout out Chris Pratt, man. Chris Pratt, he's a stud. Like he looks way cooler than me. Like that dude. That dude's awesome.
I love it, man. I love it. Now, I want to talk about the lionfish next, but before that, I gotta ask, who you going with? And this no disrespect to anybody. We love them all. They're all legends. And I was talking to my wife about this morning, and you're gonna laugh. And I was like, I said, I want to ask him, who is he going with? Steve Irwin, Jack Hanna, and then she said Crocodile Dundee. And I said, babe, I don't remember who that is. I was like, wasn't he a TV character? And she's like,
yeah, he's fictional.
That's what I thought. I was like, is he fake, buddy? I was like, I don't remember him. So now I gotta ask, who you going with? Steve Irwin or Jack Hanna? We love them both, but who you going with?
Here's the deal. Steve Irwin was basically, I'm 41. Steve Irwin was basically after my time. I definitely love Steve Irwin, but it wasn't like that childhood thing growing up. Jack Hanna, he was good, but he didn't have the charisma of Steve.
What?
He just didn't. It's funny. I love him, but ask someone who Jack Hanna is outside the animal community. Ask them who Steve Irwin was. But man, this is embarrassing to say, but man, I've been growing up watching Crocodile Dundee. I wanted to be that guy so bad. I wanted to be that guy so bad.
That is hilarious. I'm gonna tell my wife that you were right. He said Crocodile Dundee.
Pulled out the knife. Called that enough. That's more like Adam's line, my co-host line. But yeah, Crocodile Dundee had me going, man.
Right. I love it. Now I gotta ask this, man, because I've seen it. It's freaking huge. How awesome was it to get on TMZ? How did that feel getting interviewed by TMZ?
Oh, it scared the hell out of me. I was like, oh man, like that's big time. That's when all your friends are like sending you clips of it, and like your normal, not animal friends are sending you stuff, So it was a big deal. But I was like, listen to this. better be nice to them, get on their good side, because if they ever get any dirt, they're gonna be they're gonna be showing that too, because that's what they do. So I was like, well, maybe if they know me ahead of time, they'll put a little like, well, we met him, he's a nice guy, even though he did whatever got to get on TMZ. TMZ was never good news.
Yeah, it was a good interview though. I was thoroughly impressed with it.
They actually cared. They wanted to know why we're on the show, what benefits it actually gives animals. It's not just like a jackass thing. They let us sit there and talk about it. I was really impressed.
I love it. It definitely was a good interview. You talked about how you were trying to recreate the pain scale and stuff like that. I thought it was definitely a good interview. Now, I've been wanting to ask you this. How do you address the haters that say the stuff that you're doing is fake?
I mean, the bites and stings are not fake, so I don't care. I'm proud of the pain index. I got paid. Adam got paid. We're happy. Yeah. I don't know what more they could want. So people are people. You can't win with people. That's what my buddy told me. He's like, listen, with people you can't win. So
it's kind of like
the best product out there. Definitely season 2. Adam and I both. I mean, like I brought this out just in case you had questions. This is all notes and like stuff I had for season 2. Because season 1, I made a few mistakes here and there with facts and stuff, and I was like, season 2, I was like, let's reduce that. Let's lower the amount of mistakes that we have, bring in more good information, and I think season 2, you'll see us just more comfortable on camera because we're not thinking like, wait, is that right? Is that right? There are still times like being in production, they feed us lines. We're like, man, that better be right because it's not you saying it to me and then say it like, you know what I mean? So like 95% of what we say in season 2 is our words, our research, talking to people we trust. And I'm way more confident with season 2 as far as just being a factual program.
Right.
And the funny thing by doing more research and having more facts to present, we were actually able to be funnier because the pressure was off. So we were able to joke around more and have a good time.
Right. And one thing I'm happy for you too is, I seen that y'all were on the History Channel, and I love that Hulu picked y'all up. When Hulu picked y'all up, I just celebrated because it's just more. It's more for you. It just pushes you out further. How did that feel having Hulu pick you guys up?
That was cool. I'll tell you, that's where it gets weird when you're like trying to watch Game of Thrones or something, and you're pulling up the different like home base for your smart TV, and then it's like Hulu, and it's like new show, Kings of Pain. You're like, oh my gosh, that's us. It's like the freak out moment. It's when you're not expecting it. Or when I was visiting my family and they had just History Channel in the background, and I was just like, in 1984, like Justin Schmidt. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's us. Like that's way more exciting than when you're like turning it on to watch the show. You know what I mean? When it's coming, we're like, man, if we get put up on Netflix, it's a done deal. Like I think that would make us.
That would be insane.
Yeah. And there's a couple of history shows on there, so I don't know what their deal is. That's super complicated stuff. You can ask like the second in charge of history about it, and he won't even know. Like that stuff's so complicated. Because
you're cracking me up, man. I love it. Mike said it's just a great show. He's loving the Caveman.
And I gotta follow him as soon as is he on Instagram?
He is. Hit up Mike's monitors, some of the best monitors in the game. Make sure you check him out. And Mark Reptile said it's definitely great to see Rob doing well. I've been following him for like 6 years. Great guy.
Yes, he has. Hey, Mark, how you doing, brother?
Now I gotta ask, with the show, I've always wondered, because I feel like y'all don't have a lot of fear. Do you and Adam compete? You're like, no, let that sting me. Let it sting me. Let that sting me. No, let it sting me. Do you ever fight over getting stung?
Man, okay, so season 1 a little bit. We were like kind of we were cocky in season 1. Sometimes scared. There like that scorpion fish. Man, I was freaking out on that scorpion fish. There's something about just the way it looked with the huge spine. It was like, and I went in there. I was like, all right, I'm gonna like pick this part of my arm and like jam it into the spines. And then we get there, and they got like a cage within a cage, so we don't have to take it out of the water because we try not to take it out of the water if we can figure out how to do it. And then like you got to jam your palm into it, and I'm like, no. And they're like, cameras are set up, everything's set up. suck it up. I'm like, you got to, it's like, I'm mentally prepared to stick your arm on something. Now you got to stick your fingers and your palm into it. That was real fear. But I'll tell you what, season 2, we're a couple of wusses. I want to say another word. We're a couple of wusses. And here's why. We got the Scorpion episode, season 2. Originally, we had 3 scorpions, only 2 made the cut. But originally, we had Desert Hairy Scorpion, the Striped Bark Scorpion, and the Arizona Bark Scorpion. So, Desert Hairy Scorpion, probably the largest scorpion in the United States. I've been stung by it before. It's like a bee sting or a bad bee sting. Everyone says that. So this is easy for us. We're easing back into season 2. This is the opening scene of season 2. We're going to do a big, crazy-looking scorpion that's not that bad. And so Adam goes first, and he lets it sting him. Because I've told him that it's not that bad, he just kind of like leaves the stinger in. And I'm like, man, he's doing pretty good. And this thing's just pumping venom, right? And then, like, he's like, man, that hurt more than you said it did. And I'm like, it's been a couple years, you got soft, whatever. And then so I go next, and usually we're not competitive, but I'm like, I'm gonna just show him up here. I'm not gonna move my hand away until the scorpion pulls the stinger out. So I put my hand there, the stinger goes in, and it feels like there's like a volume knob on the pain, and they just keep turning it up and turning it up, and I'm like, oh damn, this really freaking hurts. Like, it hurts so bad. And I'm trying to be tough, in front of Adam. I think I left it in like 7 or 8 seconds. Man, this thing is hurting. One of the worst things I've ever felt, right at my fingertip. And I think the problem was we let it stay in so long, it just got like an unnatural amount of venom. Like, you would never in real life like let that thing just keep stinging you. So you got unnatural. So anyway, Adam's like, man, my jaw's shaking. Like, he's embarrassed to say it, and you look at it, it's like his jaw's shaking, like he just took an ecstasy pill or something, man. Like, I'm like, are you partying without me or something? So we figured it was just jet lag, right? A few minutes later, I'm like, oh shit, I can feel my teeth, and I can feel each individual tooth was like asleep, like when you sleep on your arm, like each individual tooth was like that, man. That spread to like the tops of our heads, our hands, our feet, our tongues, the roof of our mouth, and our teeth all were like pins and needles, like insane. And that lasted for 11 hours straight.
My God.
Like, it felt like you had a battery. It's batteries attached to you, like a little like stun guns or something all over it. It was horrible. And then I got like this crazy diarrhea, like immediately. like we were just miserable. So then I started having hand cramps, I think later that night. And I had crazy hand cramps, like my hand would just seize up. And that went on for 16 days straight. 16. We're on into other episodes at this point.
That's crazy.
We're like in like 2 episodes down. I'm like, hold on. And my hand's like cramping up like 2 weeks later. Man, that messed us up mentally. That messed us up so bad. Because now we're like, okay, this thing is supposed to be like a bee sting. Ruined us for over 2 weeks. Man, we were scared of everything, man. Like a butterfly came by, we're like flinching, because we just don't know what's the next surprise going to be.
Right. I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah, so you'll see us the whole season 2. We are just jumpy.
Shout out to Fungus Queen for that super chat. I thank you for being here. Mike's Monitor said he'd love to have you over and watch you take a bite from this Similis. I can't see that.
Got me scared.
Mike Monitor said, I got stung by a lionfish. No fun. They told me to apply ammonia. Bad move.
What the hell? He needs a Dr. Ben is what he needs. Ammonia.
And I got to shout this guy out, too. You went herping with him. Shout out to Todd. That's the angry Aatrox.
Oh, what's up, man? How you doing?
Todd in the building. Much love to him. Now, I got to ask, you always, shout out to Deranged in the building. I meant to ask you. Oh, threw myself off. You shooting your TV show, you have your off time. So I gotta ask, before you get out of here, what is your personal collection of animals looking like? What do you keep right now?
You'd be surprised. It's basically nothing. I have the OBT, Orange Baboon Tarantula from season 2, and then my wife has a couple snakes. That's it. And the reason being, I would love to have a collection. I would love to. But I'm only interested in like some weird random stuff. I would love to have some lapids, like a Spitalaps, like the coral cobras and the shield nose cobras. I would love to have some random vipers like Pseudocerastes, especially the spider tail one. I just want some random, but it's super difficult. And basically, I'm in LA County. It's impossible to get permits. So I figured if I can't have exactly what I want, I'd rather be free to take off and travel. We already have a dog. That's already a problem when we're traveling. So uh, going to Florida next week, going to Arizona after that, hopefully going to Oklahoma all in the next month. So I like to get out and travel a lot. So it's really not for me to have a big collection. But I'll tell you what, for social media, that's made it very, very difficult. Because you look at the guys that are huge on social media, most of them have a captive collection. Because like Jay Brewer, Barchek, most of the guys, and so that's easy content for them. They're already going to be out taking care of the animals. They get these super charismatic animals on camera. Very easy for them to put out a lot of good content. Since I do mostly wild stuff, it's extremely difficult. I'm really gonna, if I want to be successful in social media, I've got to figure out how to fix that. And I think one of the things I'm going to start doing is semi-instructional videos, more like I'm going fishing tonight. I'm coming here. I'm doing this at low tide, and here's why. Just very basic stuff. But you got to give people something. And if I'm not getting them constant, like cool animals to look at, they got to benefit in some way.
Right. I agree. I think you're killing it on social media. I can't, I think that the sky is the limit. You're almost at 30K on Instagram. That's huge. You have 30,000 people, watching what you're doing. Shout out to Todd. He just said, ask you if you like climbing trees.
Yes, fairly. I was climbing up a tree for a racer, and I got I don't know, poison oak or something, poison ivy in my eyes, sumac something, man.
Right. Now we're talking about the bigger people, so your passion is more so going out and seeing stuff. You don't ever see yourself like opening up like a facility like Barchek or Brewer.
No, I would love to either open an eco lodge in another country, or probably more practically, I want to start doing eco tours. So it'd be stupid for me not to take advantage of this exposure from Kings of Pain and from the social media. So hopefully by the end of the year, I'll have some type of tour set up. If you want to go herping with me, maybe we would be really cool to go to some of the places where we filmed. That would be really cool. But otherwise, maybe we go to Costa Rica. We look for whatever animals, and we can hang out. And I think some people like to do that. There's other people I like to go herping with that I've seen on TV. Man, my number one TV person ever is Jeremy Wade from River Monsters. If that dude asked me to go fishing with them on a trip, I'd probably go do it. I'd probably pay money to do it.
That'd be insane.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to set up a similar type thing where we go herping, and I don't know if Adam and I would do that together or separately, but that's in the works.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I'm jealous. Now we've been going almost an hour, so I got like two or three more questions. I won't keep you because I know that you're getting ready to go fishing. Now I got to ask you have so much knowledge when it comes to animals. I've seen it on the show. Do you feel like did somebody teach you, or you kind of like self-taught?
Man, I have a lot of experience. I'm so far from an expert. Like, I read a lot of animal books. The people that wrote those are experts. You know what I mean? It's really hard to be a true expert. Like, you want to be an expert on like horn lizards? You got to study their poop for 2 years, 3 years. You know what I mean? It's like they only know about that one species and the one that be a true expert. But I read a lot, and man, with science being the way it is, I'll read like a paper from like 2008. I'm like, oh, blah blah blah. But thankfully, I have some really really smart friends that help me out a lot. And like, oh yeah, well that was a 2008 paper, but the 2019 paper says blah blah blah. So I have a lot of good friends that help me out. The reason the History Channel picked me for this show, they told me, like, you don't have to be anything you're not. They're like, you've got a crazy amount of experience traveling the world looking for reptiles, and you've been in scary situations. Like, if I was going to go do a show like this, I would want to have someone like you there. And I was like, okay, easy. Like, that was able to be myself on the show. It didn't have to be anything I'm not. So I think I have to offer is just experience.
I love it. Now, before we get out of here, we talked about you wanting to kind of grow on social media. I think that you're killing it, but I want to kind of give you an idea, and you tell me how you feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have a beautiful lady. I seen her on your Instagram. Beautiful lady. I hope she's not watching because I want you to do something.
All right.
And I feel like it will go viral. So I feel like, you're one of the kings of pain. You took so many bites. So I feel like you should, get an animal, set up a cell phone in your bathroom to where your lady don't see it, and be like, baby, come here, watch this, and take a bite, and then fall to the ground and start seizing in front of her, fake seizing, just kind of prank her. And I think it go viral.
Well, I already have a camera set up in the bathroom, so
you should do that. Prank her, it go viral.
that would be funny, man. Well, tonight, taking her out. Pray to God, there's not a real situation, but I'm taking her out hand fishing. So I like fishing, but I can't even tie a fishing knot. But I go all the time. I go fishing by hand in the surf, in the ocean, and this time of year at low tide, in certain protected area, like not legally protected, but like protected areas, like by a seawall or something where there's not as many waves, you'll have a lot of rays come in. So you'll have stingrays, you'll have bat rays, butterfly rays, and then we get something called thornback rays and guitar fish, and those don't actually have a venomous barb. And so she's never caught one of these thornbacks. I'm taking her tonight. Hopefully the conditions are good, but they're buried, and you gotta look at it and make sure it's not a stingray before you grab it. And then last night I saw one. I was like, man, that one looks kind of weird. And I went to grab it, and I felt like this sliminess, and I was like, oh, the thornbacks don't feel slimy. The stingrays do. And I kind of tensed up, and then this 2-foot butterfly ray comes up out of the water. I couldn't see it. I'm talking 6 inches of water, man. And this thing just comes up. It's just, you just never know what you're going to see out there. So hopefully I get some good video of her tonight catching her first one, and hopefully people like that. But I'll take your advice on the prank thing. She's in the room, but hopefully she isn't here right now.
You go crazy, man. Now, I love it, man. Thank you so much. You gave us an amazing hour. I'm going to let you go. But before we go, I've had Brian Barczyk on the show, and he'll tell you, you can make an amazing video, but if your thumbnail is crap on YouTube, people won't watch it. So on a count of 3, I always like to end my show and make a funny face for my thumbnail. Are you down?
Down.
On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. There it is.
There you go.
Caveman Rob, thank you so much. You're so humble. You're so down to earth. I wish that they give you 15 more seasons of your show, man. You deserve it.
Man, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to talk to you. That was a good time, man.
I love it, man. I appreciate you so much. You have a good day, sir.
You too.
Awesome duty. Super down to earth. Before I end this podcast, I definitely want to say, please make sure you go support USART. Also, go check out the show. It's on Hulu. It's on the History Channel. Kings of Pain, Caveman Rob, super good guy. This was just a fun podcast. Thank you to everybody showing up. Thank you so much for the super chats. Thank you for the likes, the watches. Thank you so much for just coming. It's so fun to do these podcasts and just see what people are doing. So until next time, man, this is Big Reptile Talk. We bring in, I don't care if you got reptiles, if you're around animals, I want you to come on the podcast and just talk and just have fun. And that's what it's about. So much love to Caveman Rob. He's a good dude. This is Big Reptile Talk. Before we get out of here, we got to pay those bills. So without further ado, make sure you go check out Venomproof Cages, some of the best cages on the market. If you're into snakes, of course, I want you to go check out Ozzy Boyd's. And last but not least, ship your reptiles. This is so important. If you're making amazing animals, you need to focus on that and ship your reptiles, your animals, to your customers safely. They are just a quality company. Please check them out. Just an amazing company. Go give them some time. Until next time, man, this is Big Reptile Talk, and we out of here. You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish. We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try to be the best. Not to be better than other people, but to be the best for you. You grind hard so you can play hard. The work you put in will pay off. It could be a year, it could be 30 years, but you keep grinding. Welcome to Big